Honorable
Thank
Nino.
you, Madam Chair.
We now recognize the Honorable Nathaniel Oducado for his interpellation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Secretary, and thank you to the whole PCO family. Um, there was actually a good question coming from Representative Tino, because on page 557 of the NEP, I saw that there was a huge increase of your advertising expenses. So in line with that, is this increase also congruent with the ASEAN Master Plan 2, which is also tackling every sector, which and will promote a lot of the ASEAN goals?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is this breakdown fully following the ASEAN Master Plan 2, or do we have a separate approach in promoting our ASEAN goals?
It is aligned, Your Honor, but as we lead up to our hosting of the ASEAN, there are still a lot of working groups that are meeting, and there may be some refocusing of priorities there. But to our estimation, this is the correct level of budget that we will require to effectively provide communication support for our hosting of the ASEAN.
After browsing the ASEAN Master Plan 2, I think it will actually require multiple levels of approach, from radio, TV, digital, etc. My next question is, did the budget that you put in place, is it enough to fully realize or to fully appreciate our chairmanship for ASEAN?
Your Honors, please, the overall ASEAN budget, or our budget does not reflect our share in the overall ASEAN budget, which is lodged in the Office of the President, and I believe will be presented separately by the Office of the President as one overall ASEAN budget.
Okay, thank you, Secretary. For the next questions, do we have strategies on how to increase our viewership, readership, or listenership share from all of the attached agencies from the PCO?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you very much for this opportunity. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a big believer of data-driven research powered decision making. All of the strategies of all the agencies will from henceforth be based on what the data is telling us, what the people needs to hear, what they want to hear, and how do we address that, what types of messages would resonate well with them. So all of these are covered by research, as I explained earlier, from profiling our various audiences to segmenting them and doing message testing on what particular message would resonate to a particular audience. Those are the information, those are the data that will guide us in drafting the strategies for the whole PCO and for our attached agencies, with the end in view of synchronizing our narrative, synchronizing our messages to be more effective communicators.
Last question. When it comes to radio, with an overall listenership rate of 9 to 12%, what's the goal, and what are the key KPIs of the PCO to achieve it?
Can I refer you to Director Dito?
Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you, Your Honor. Right now, Radio Pilipinas, the flagship radio station in Metro Manila, is now hitting around 10 to 12% in the ratings, and this is the first time really that we have a double-digit rating, and we attribute this to the effective cross-platform strategy that we have with digital, because ever since we started digital operations and in line with our integrated approach, wherein all the social media platforms of the different attached agencies are doing content altogether, it really boosted our listenership, our viewership, and our overall audience approach, or overall content appreciation by our audience, and we really felt that the large audience coming from digital is crossing through the different platforms that we have, both in radio and television. In fact, this year alone, when we started our Facebook page, we are running at about 600,000 followers, and by the end of and right now, about 2 weeks ago, we already hit 1 million followers. And this will really reflect on the kind of appreciation the audience is gaining now. So apart from all these cross-platform strategies that we have, we are doing our other strategies, such as expanding our network, not just locally, but now we are already starting to plan for the creation of our own international news network, which will utilize the different communities of overseas Filipino workers, which will become our bridge for information so that we can come up with a better strategy of providing them information and also receiving information from their end from the different parts of the country. And this has been already successful. We've seen a lot of successful strategies that utilizes the overseas Filipino workers as bridge of information for our different content strategies, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Congratulations again to Secretary Dave. We're happy to have you at the helm, and it's going to be a heavy year for you next year. So good luck, and please do a great job. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Maraming salamat, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Educado. The committee now recognizes Representative Nico Paul Daza.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To my colleagues who are in attendance, our PCO family, and of course our other guests, maupay nga gabi sa aton nga tanan. I was listening to the discussion during the time of Kong Tony Roman's questions, and I would like to commend the PCO on fighting the good fight against fake news, because as we know, fake news is very pervasive and almost systemic now to social media and all forms of digital communication. However, I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, we respond to fake news only as fake news arises. So for me, this might be quite insufficient. So I want to ask if we follow any specific misinformation or combating misinformation frameworks. Do we follow any specific framework for that? Is there a strategy in place?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Actually, I forgot to mention earlier that PCO fully supports the legislative initiatives of Congress to seek to combat misinformation across all platforms. No, and in terms of the systems in place, we have certain fact-checking and verification processes in place. We have our media and information literacy campaign and the digital governance and unified messaging platforms. So there is a system in place apart from the reactionary approach that we described earlier.
Madam Chair, I'd like to thank the good secretary. Could we expound more on that and how we determine what constitutes as fake news?
Your Honor, before I refer you to our digital media services team, I would just like to reiterate that we do an initial and comprehensive fact-checking at the onset to determine if these are fake news. We also check the sources of the content, if they are coming from curated sources of news or spurious overnight links that just came up, and from there we try to address the fake news. But to add to what I'm saying, Your Honor, may I refer you to our digital
All right. Good evening, Your Honor. So under the Media Information Literacy Campaign, we have several programs that includes workshops, trainings to equip the members of our society in fighting fake news and determining what constitutes as fake news. So for one, we have the MIL fact-checking workshop series, which we conducted with Verifiles. So with this, we strengthened the fact-checking capacity in government media by training 75 fact-check officers from state media outlets across Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And the initiative actually ensures that state media communicators are equipped with tools and methodologies to detect, verify, and counter disinformation. And on top of that, we also have the training of trainers that we are doing to create the multipliers for MIL education. So by this, we trained educators nationwide. And the program pilot of the MIL module, which is further refined by a feedback mechanism. So these educators will later cascade the knowledge to their respective schools, their students, their institutions, to ensure the sustainability and the consistency in teaching media literacy. And also, we have the National Schools Press Conference na kung saan ini-embed din namin yung MIL in student journalism. So the concurrent session with school paper advisors provides the practical MIL insights. So we taught them how to mentor student journalists in being responsible when it comes to reporting, ethical fact-checking, and critical use of media. So this ensures that future campus journalists and their advisors become frontline advocates against disinformation. And also we also brought MIL directly to the students during our mall caravans with the DOE. So within this program, we integrated MIL sessions into this DOE mall caravans. So wherein the program taps into the youth audience, and they naturally gather hundreds and hundreds of them in malls to hear and make it relatable for them kung ano ba talaga ang media information literacy. And of course, recently, we also have Usap Tayo Bayan Muna, talakayan kasama si Claire Castro. So this program fosters a dialogue-driven MIL learning in universities. So through a parang town hall style discussions with Claire Castro, students from, let's say, PUP, CEU, and STI are directly engaged in conversations on truth, responsible media use, and civic responsibility. So those are just few of the programs under MIL, Your Honor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm quite delighted to hear that there's a comprehensive framework, it seems like, and I think most importantly, there's a dialogue between all stakeholders so that we can ensure the proper literacy in establishing or determining what's exactly fake news and what's real. However, I've yet to hear any mention, any key performance indicators or KPIs. How can we evaluate how successful we are in our efforts? Because as mentioned by the good secretary, I believe we're pouring in 16 million. And perhaps in the grand scheme of things, this may not seem like a large amount, but every piece counts. So if we have no performance metrics to measure how successful our measures are or plans are, this is also a waste of money, no? So I'd like to hear from the PCO if we do have metrics in place for this.
One of the metrics include, of course, the coverage of kung sino ba yung natatap ng programs namin, the number of students, the number of teachers, and everyone that's involved in the program. But I believe it's more important kung once the surveys come out when it comes to disinformation, how many Filipinos are still vulnerable to it. And from that, we work on kung how much more effort we have to exert when it comes to media information literacy.
Madam Chair, is this a report that we could potentially get from the PCO? Could we be furnished the results of these studies?
Yes, Your Honor, we'll provide the committee. And Your Honor.
Great. Madam Chair, it's great to hear from the good secretary. And I guess in line with this, we also discussed IBC 13. No? Perhaps to play, I guess, devil's advocate in the spirit of journalistic integrity, because I heard from, I believe, director, that hindi po tayo namimili. We try to highlight every congressman, everyone's work. But again, in the spirit of journalistic integrity, how do we ensure that there's independence and neutrality in the content that we push out? Because, of course, not saying that this is what happens, but we avoid ourselves from becoming, for example, a propaganda arm for the government.